But okay. Hello.
Hey,
Long time no see, man.
it's been a minute. It's been a good
It's
minute.
I think it's been like a decade, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, those
Oh
Florida
my
days.
God, we're old.
Now we're not old. We're experienced.
Yes, that.
We
All
are
right,
experienced.
we're very experienced. Okay, so please introduce us to yourself.
Well, my name is Michael Theodore. I'm a graduate student at the University of Chicago. Um, I went to Florida State University with Ashley, and my undergraduate major was African American Studies and Sociology. I was part of this organization called Poetic Lyricism at Florida State, and I performed a lot. I wrote a lot. I still write. I still perform when I can, and I'm a human being. I'm an interesting. Well, I won't say I'm interesting. If people think I'm interesting, that's cool. But I'm just part of this great circle of life, like Lion King, essentially. So yeah,
So you have your master's now.
going for my master's right now. Then afterwards, most likely going for the PhD. Not most likely. I am going for the PhD in sociology. So yeah, it feels great.
That's so cool. So you're in Chicago right now.
Yeah, I'm in this frozen tundra called Chicago, and you know, you being you living in Florida, and I believe you moved to New York. It's just the thing with Florida. Opportunities sometimes aren't there, and you're just
They're not.
forced to leave, and it's a shame because Florida has some extremely talented people. Some of the most talented, genuine, and creative people I ever met in my life were from Florida. One of my favorite poets was a guy named Virgil. He was in Black Actors Guild, and he was just phenomenal. He was like a super talent. He made me almost quit poetry one day. Just kidding, but one of my favorite poets was Virgil, and he had to move up north. So last time I checked, he went to UPenn, I believe, to get his master's in social work. Yeah. So yeah, when we're forced to move, we have to do what we have to do. So yeah.
This isn't one of my questions. So, but why do you think that? Because like with the Buccaneers winning, like people are like, oh, like the economy's gonna start booming, but it's like I feel like it shouldn't be as hard as it is to be a successful artist in Florida. Why do you think it's so difficult?
Um, I think it's so difficult because it could be based on assumptions that there's nothing out there in Florida, even though we're not close. We're close to Georgia, and Georgia seems to be a place where filmmaking is amazing. It's not that we don't lack proper scenery, because Florida is a beautiful location. You have beaches, you have historical towns like I think
St. Augustine
yeah,
or
St. Augustine. That
yeah.
exactly. You have college towns in Tallahassee and that hated place called Gainesville. You have South Florida that has so much different culture. But if they do make films and art, it tends to be in South Florida,
Yeah.
and the other regions of Florida is effectively ignored. And I don't think that's right. Like if I ever won a whole bunch of money, I always wanted to create like a major film production company in Florida, so
Yeah.
Florida artists could feel like they're supported. Because I know some talented people in West Palm Beach, Florida. I know some talented people in Tallahassee, Orlando,
Mhm.
Jacksonville, and they shouldn't have to feel forced to move outside of the state of Florida. That's how I
Mhm.
feel.
Word. Okay. So, what's your favorite and least favorite memory from Tallahassee?
Mm. Let's start with the least favorite.
Okay.
My least favorite memory was when we did Language of Lingerie for FSU at Florida State,
Yeah.
um, poetic lyricism production, and for some reason they tried to censor us. They tried to restrict all of these rules, and a whole bunch of people, 300 people, were sent away because the building was at capacity. And I understand building codes, but it kind of felt like they were targeting us because there was plenty of space for other people to come in, but they
Mm-hmm.
effectively stopped them. My favorite memory at Florida State was that's a good question. Oh yeah, the invention of Death of Ignorance, and I believe the first show with Death of Ignorance was with the Black Actors Guild, and it was a combination of acting and poetry. And the interesting thing when it comes to art, there's such an intrinsic relationship there. The artist recognizes the poet recognizes the singer recognizes the person that paints, and it's an ongoing circle of recognition.
Yeah.
And I feel like for that show to even still be around today, Death of Ignorance, I love it because it was based on a show that tackled complex issues, talked about issues people weren't comfortable with, and it was effectively controversial. So I like that because controversy is about honesty. And if you can't have a controversial conversation, you're not necessarily being honest. So,
Effectively controversial. I
yeah,
like that. So
yeah,
poetic lyricism is still at Florida State?
yes, absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, Black Actors Guild doesn't exist anymore.
Ah, man.
I
Ah.
know. It's so disappointing. Okay, okay. That's not your questions. Wrong page. Okay. She gives eternity butterflies.
Oh, yeah.
What inspired you to write that? A lot of the poetry that you post is very it's kind of like an ode to women or a woman in general. What inspired you to write that and your writings that you share online?
I mean, I think when it comes to women and the definition of the term beauty, it becomes so social. It's a socialized definition, but to me, beauty represents action, beauty represents thought, beauty represents humanity. And there are just some women I met along the way in my life that just had that element of beauty, the way I define beauty, to the point I feel like if she was outside and it was like a starry night, the universe would be forced to put everything on pause just to look at her because she got it like that. So it represents like such an amazing woman. And it's not a singular woman, it's multiple women. So they got it like that. It's kind of like I remember the song by Neo, Miss Independent, and I
Mm-hmm.
said, man, I never heard somebody. Well, there's other songs that exist that's on that degree, but for him to be like a popular artist and really break down the term independence and attaching it to a woman and how much he appreciated, yeah, I like that, and that's what I was trying to capture, and it felt good. It felt good writing it.
I think you effectively did that.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm a robot.
All right.
Explain poetry to me.
Poetry is based off experience. It's based off perspective. It's based off watching something and just having, something like this nearby. Um, I remember I wrote this. It's about writing something to tackle like a certain perception. I remember I was watching an episode of Law and Order SVU, and I'm sorry to get deep, but there is this conversation the detectives were having about not being honest of who you are, like not being honest about your identity, saying that you are a famous person when you are not, in order to have sex with women. And, manipulation is I hate that word. I hate that feeling. I hate the concept. I hate the phenomenon because honestly, you don't know when you're being manipulated. And for someone to use manipulations in order to have sex with a woman, I think it's disgusting. It's degrading, but it's like an action that is taught based on specific culture, based on the music people listen to, the film people watch. And I wrote this the other day. Let's see if I can find it.
Okay.
So you still use me. So you still use manipulation to have sex with women. Random guy, of course. Me. Wow. Let me ask you a question. Random guy. Sure. Me. Do you still look in the mirror? Random guy. Yeah. Me. Can you still see your soul? Random guy. No. So I read that to my sister last night, and she said, wow, that was dark, but there's a cost to everything. That's why some of the most broken people in the world who partake in these activities felt like they lost something in the process, because every inhumane act that you do is like an assault on your humanity. So the people who still have that partialness of the soul, that partialness of goodness, the more you degrade yourself through degrading acts, you get degraded as well. So when it comes to poetry, it's about observation. It's about me responding to an issue, me responding to a feeling that I have from within and acting accordingly. It could be a haiku. It could be a short poem. It could be a long poem. It could be a monologue, because I wrote a monologue. I wrote an interesting monologue that was about a racist guy that went through Hurricane Katrina with Black people, and he was forced to work with them, have his opinion change about Black people, but just to become racist at the end, because that's what he knew, that's what he recognized, and that's what made him more comfortable. So when it comes to my poems, not all of them have like a happy ending, because life in itself isn't always happy. Yeah, you have moments of happiness, you have moments of tragedy, but in each instance, I just try to give my personal truth about a lot of things. Yeah. I hope I explained that well.
No, yeah, that was perfect. That was perfect. Yeah, that was so your barber said, like who likes you.
Yeah.
What did he mean by that?
It's one of, I remember I was watching a program on TV, or it must have been on Instagram. I follow something called Black Marriage. It's a black marriage webpage. Even though I'm not married, I'd like to get married in the future. That depends if the woman of my dreams, she's stuck in some galaxy far, far away. And she just said to me, she said she's gonna be there soon. I'm just kidding. But when it comes to that specific line, like who likes you, I was living in Las Vegas at the time. I had a conversation with my barber. His name is Darian. He's from Wisconsin. And he was talking about married life. He was saying how he's happily married, how he'll never do anything to disrespect his wife. Yes, they went through it, but when it comes to marriage, a successful relationship, you have to like the person.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to like who you're with. And that's one of the things that people tend to forget, is that you really, really have to like who you're with. And if you don't, you could love somebody and hate them at the same time. But if you love them and like them, that's like a good combination for success. So yeah, that's what I meant by that.
You are a strict independent. What does that mean?
What?
You're an independent.
Oh,
Your political status. Sorry, political status.
oh yeah. It's based on experience. I think a lot of times we will look at politicians and we'll put them on this pedestal, like they're supposed to, that like they're perfect. Case in point, Obama. Every day in his presidency, he was at war with another country. He bombed places to death. There were casualties that the American media didn't necessarily put out there. So you have like a historic figure in Obama, and the historicness is absolutely necessary. And for some reason, you don't give him like an honest critique, because in order to give him like an honest critique, the backlash would be like, you know what, you're hating, you're being this, you're being that. We're so much afraid of cancel culture that we can't have honest conversations about what a politician did or did not do. Case in point, Joe Biden, 94 crime bill. Kamala Harris, her time as a DA, she had some cases that she had some actions that were really problematic, but at the same time, she was still progressive. She had a lot of progressive policies. You could look at the whole politician, to me, and that's okay. We just have to be willing and able to hold them accountable, and don't get so blinded by their power status that we obscure ourselves from the truth, if that makes sense. So
it does make sense.
Yeah.
It does make sense. True. So, do you remember the book Black Sexual Politics?
Black Sexual Politics. When did that come out?
Years ago. years. But
I probably read it for undergrad, but go ahead.
Yeah, decades ago. So, how has stereotypical imagery and sexist ideology harmed the African Americans in the past, and how is it still harming us present tense?
Well, it harmed us in the past based on imageries from the minstrel show, based on imageries of the sexualization, exploitation of Black women in films, and based on the fact how where you would have a Black woman who was like sexually assaulted, you would have people who would recall images in their mind that was based on the stereotypes they saw on TV, in film, in media, in music about Black people, where we're not getting taken advantage, where we're not getting taken seriously, in a sense. That's why you had the Tulsa race riots. That's why you had situations where so much dehumanization was occurring with law enforcement as it related to their treatment of Black women not being heard from law enforcement. Fast forward that today, you still have a lot of those similar issues where there are stories that are coming out where Black women talk about their mistreatment with law enforcement, how they were sexually harassed, how they were sexually violated, how they're not effectively heard. So I think what happens in the past is still happening right now. And I'm glad that we do have shows like Law and Order, SVU, a show that I watch continuously to address these issues. I'm glad that we have platforms like the Grapevine, for instance, a show on YouTube that talks about the experiences of Black women. I'm glad we have pages like For Harriet, a page that was introduced to me by a Black woman named Janae Cook. She's awesome. She went to Florida State as well. I'm glad that we have a moment where Black women are in a place where they could feel where they feel like they could talk about their stories, critique the institutions that they live in, and demand the respect that they deserve. Because a Black woman that demands respect is awesome. You know, not saying the ones that aren't awesome, but I want us to live in a society where even the most shyest people, shyest women, shyest Black women could feel like their voices can be heard. So that was my long-winded answer.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
So now speaking of women, hold on, sorry, my phone is overheating because I'm in the heat. Do you mind if I move out of this
Yeah, take your
area?
time.
Give me like a hot second because I don't want to
Hot
have to
second. I
close out.
haven't heard that phraseology in a while.
Okay, this will work. Yeah, this will do. This will do. Okay, so now speaking of women, do you think that there is like a secret hidden movement to get rid of women?
A secret hidden movement. I think there are powerful forces out there that hates women. I think there's people that's part of the old boys network that still wants women to stay in their place. I think there's people out there.
Absolutely, like, whoa. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Okay, so the last thing that we were talking about was there an agenda? Is there, present tense, forgive me, an agenda to get rid of women in general?
Yeah, I think there's people who are in a position of power, powerful white men specifically, and powerful people in general who don't want to share the power with women. And they have adopted the system that they live in, and they are comfortable. They adopted the system so much that any act that they see that has like a threat, that's like a threat to them, they respond viciously, or they just they kind of respond in a way to keep themselves quote unquote safe, like not willing to mentor women, not willing to meet with women in closed doors, behind closed doors, being so petrified that they might get accused of something, that they will accordingly just spend as little time with women as possible. But I always feel like if you're a person that's known for treating people with respect and you have a humanness about you, then you shouldn't worry about that. Just worry about being yourself and treating people the way that they deserve. So the short answer is yes, I believe there is, and it's based on the fact that there's people out there who are in a position of power that don't want to share the power. And some of these people are the richest and most powerful people in the world. Some of these people are politicians. Some of these people are university presidents. Some of these people are top business executives, and they should be called out accordingly. So yeah.
If you could grow any fruit, no, if you could grow any type of garden, what fruit would it be and why?
Mango.
Why?
Mango, without question. Mango is a phenomenal fruit. It's an all-purpose fruit. You can have mango in the morning. You can have mango in the afternoon. You can have mango at night. I'm a South Florida guy, and mangoes is a tradition of South Florida. And I feel like there's so many different varieties to mangoes. You have your Haitian mangoes. You have your other types of mangoes, and they're just a phenomenal fruit. Mangoes connect to my childhood. Mangoes make me smile, and mangoes is a word that I know it just makes me smile. Living in Chicago, we don't have a lot of mangoes, and yes, I could get some at Whole Food, but it's one thing to have the ability to buy a mango from a store, it's another thing to, walk down the street, see a mango tree, and get the mango from there. It's a different feeling. It really is.
Um, should we get rid of the N-word?
Whoa. That's a $400 trillion question. Personally, I don't use the N-word. But I contradict myself because I listen to music that has the N-word.
Mm-hmm.
And when I listen to it in music, it doesn't bother me because the artists who are saying it are black. But if I were to hear like another person outside of my race say it.
What's the guy with the Skittles hair? Is that Tekashi 6ix9ine?
Yeah, Tekashi 6ix9ine, yeah.
He says it.
I don't listen to Tekashi 6ix9ine because a lot of his antics to me are dangerous and will get somebody killed.
Yeah.
He's perpetuating gang culture, and the way he moves in the street it's offensive to me. It's like he's perpetuating something that shouldn't be perpetuated. Like, we're living in a time where the level of black consciousness is increasing, and then you have people who are trying to decrease it. Yeah. So when it comes to people like that, Tekashi 6ix9ine, who uses it, I don't like it based on who he is, and he's not black. Like, I do have a problem with a non-black person wanting to use the N-word. One of the questions I ask is, why are you so desperate to use the N-word? How does that benefit you? So I'm always suspicious of that. So to your question, should we get rid of the N-word? I would like to see it gone, but I understand why it's still around. As long as it is black people that are using it, it doesn't sting as much. But if white people are using it, other people are using it, it kind of stings. And for that reason, I would like to see it just disappear. So
I never thought of it that way. That's very interesting. Okay. Oh, okay. Do you remember the Wizard of Oz?
Yeah. Somewhat.
So the scarecrow doesn't have a brain.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give the scarecrow in order to use his brain?
Wow. I would tell him just to keep his eyes open and learn. And say life is a learning experience. Keep your eyes open and learn and move accordingly. Take down notes. And as you take down notes, you'll learn. Your brain will start to develop. You will develop into the person that hopefully you want to be and a person that you're proud of. So, yeah, life is about experience, learning from those experiences and growing accordingly. And when you do that, you grow mentally, emotionally. So I would tell them to do that.
I like that a lot. Okay, so where can we like you, stalk you, follow you, all that fun stuff?
Spoken_knowledge. And I don't have a YouTube page, and that's crazy because I still have like a lot of content out there, stuff I still perform. So stay tuned to the YouTube page, but spoken_knowledge is the best way to follow me. I'll also have another page on Instagram called Nice Guy Writer.
Nice Guy Writer?
Yeah, where I put some of my material out there as well.
Okay. All right. And final question, because it's been years. Do you mind performing a piece for us?
Oh yeah. I'll perform something I think you might appreciate. The name of this piece is called Dramatic Insanity, and I hope you like it. See, I'll have it in front of me, but at the same time, I'll try to do it from the top of the head.
Okay.
All right. Wherever I go, it's always a show. I can't seem to step off stage, even when I'm off stage. And I'm hurting because even when I see scripted perversions being depicted in my dreams no one knows about, not even my psychiatrist. But I had to master my role. I had to get in the character. But the Academy Award winning character doesn't want to leave. And it seems that this mainstream media militia will stop at nothing to make sure these lights they have pointed at me stays line. I wish these lights could be more of a blending color so I could blend more easier into the crowd and disappear forever. But I can't. And I see, even when I'm wide awake, so are my nightmares. Because these demons not my conscience, not my soul, because soul already been sold a long time ago. And hey, Tupac warned me back in the day, there was a high price for fame. And just the other day, Lil Wayne told me the entertainment industry is connected to a much bigger game. But I was homeless, desperate, and hungry at the time. Picture this, a world-class talent like myself performing world-class monologues for spare change. So when the opportunity of a lifetime came my way, like a monkey, I jumped and signed that contract with my own blood. And now I'm stuck. And these antipsychotic drugs are losing its effect, making me lose my mind, resulting in me being in court 12 times this year. One case involved so many tears. I was drinking heavy that night, a way of silencing the many characters who all want to perform at the same fucking time. But I was losing that battle. Depression was setting in. So I decided to drink more that night. I decided to drive that night, killed a family of 8 that night. And that trial, that worthless trial, served no purpose. End result, 500 hours of community service. And it only sent $500K sent to the DA to make sure that case would go away. That character, Alonzo, gave me that idea. And honestly, through it all, I had love, support, and love from my fans. And I love my fans. But secretly, I'm starting to hate my fans because they don't know. They don't know what I've been through. They don't know what I'm going through. They don't know what me, this gun, and this bullet is about to do. No suicide letters. They don't deserve to know that truth. I'll let them figure out that tragedy for themselves when they hear sudden demise of my passing on the evening news. Thank you.
Damn, you're good. Damn, oh gosh. It's like you created a character that for me, from my perspective, that I cared about, but I also simultaneously didn't.
Right.
Like the Joker.
Exactly. You're getting close. There's one person that inspired that poem.
Really? Who else inspired it?
It was multiple people. It was Heath Ledger, the gentleman from 2.5 Men. What's his name?
Charlie Sheen?
Yes. Like his antics, support, he gets roles, he avoids jail time. It's like this privilege that comes with fame.
Yeah.
You see, I know there's famous people who are just phenomenal. Like Keanu Reeves, that's one of my favorite guys on earth. The stories I hear about him, I say, you know what? It's possible to be famous and not be so corrupted by it. So with that poem specifically, right, I wanted to capture some of the darker elements of fame. I wanted to capture some of the drug issues. I wanted to capture how some actors feel like they have to give up so much, sacrifice so much, sacrifice their dignity for fame. Like if I was a Hollywood director or Hollywood producer and I had an actor that said, I'm not comfortable doing that scene, I said, cool, we don't need it. I want you to be comfortable being comfortable, because when you're comfortable, you're at your best. And I think it's unfortunate how actors are forced to do things that are beyond their comfort level for the sake of fame. Like, I understand that. I remember when I heard there was an actor who said he refuses to do any kissing scenes. And I said, kissing scenes, isn't that what an actor is supposed to do? But hold on. Then I thought deeper. Do we really need kissing scenes to tell like an effective love story?
No.
Do we need the lovemaking scenes to tell like an
No.
effective love story? Exactly. So my thing is, with this whole piece, Dramatic Insanity, I just wanted to capture the frustration. I wanted to make sure that it's a piece that I don't perform often, but I always have memorized, because I feel like there's going to be a time and a place to do the piece. There are several pieces I always have memorized, but that one in particular I want to do because it's different from a good amount of the pieces that I normally do, because it's addressing like a specific issue. Because a lot of people say they want to be famous, but there's a cost for fame. You can't walk down the street. There's all this pressure. People are holding you to a specific standard. In effect, you're being dehumanized because you're famous. You are being dehumanized. And I think that's unfortunate. I think that's sad. I think that's deteriorating. And I think as a society, we should really change our concept of fame. Because I've met famous people before. I met the rapper Mystical. I met Chris Webber. I met Joe Namath. I met a couple of other famous people as well. And I always did my best to recognize that they were human.
Yeah.
Recognize their humanness. And I was able to have like dope conversations with them. So yeah.
I'm speaking this now, and it's being saved in the internet forever. We're going to work together again.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would love that, because in all honesty, I've been dormant when it came to performing.
Same.
And I think that should change, especially with me living in a city like Chicago. And this is what I have to say to artists who are listening, all the artists that are out there. You could still be dormant, but it doesn't mean you're not performing, because the artist from within is still there. It's still practicing. It's still on stage. The poet from within, for me, is still writing. It's still practicing. It's still on stage. Like, even though I didn't perform, there was a period of time where I was a part of Toastmasters, and I was able to get better at public speaking. And when it comes to orators or people who do speeches, there's a connection to people who perform live poetry, connection to people who perform live music, a connection to people who perform live visual art. So it's all connected. So as long as you tap into something that still feeds you on a regular basis, the art from within will still be satiated. And for me, I've been doing like enough over the years to keep the art satiated. And I can't wait to get on stage again. I love being on stage. I feel, even though I'll get nervous before, being on stage is something that, it speaks to me. I love it. And yeah. So thank you. Thank you for.
Thank you, man.
Was there anything else you wanted to?
No, that's it, man. This was so worth waking up for, man. I really appreciate it, and thank you for the walk down memory lane, man. This was
all right. Definitely. Stay connected, and
for
I'm
sure,
proud of
1,000%.
You are doing your thing, and you are one of those people at Florida State that, to me, were genuine. And I remember when you were directing Black actors, you know, it was like you were just in a zone. You were telling people to do this, telling people to do that. And I said, there's a woman right there that loves, appreciate, and loves her craft. And I think that's cool. So I want you to keep doing your thing. You got a whole bunch of people that support you. And yeah, you're awesome.
Thank you, Mike. All right. Thank you. You have a good day, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.